Welcome to my 90-day SAT prep series. Today is day 73 out of 90. So yesterday you took some time to do some personalized SAT math no calculator studying, and today we're going to do some practice with the math no calculator section. So today there's going to be really two big parts. The first part that you're going to do is you're going to have 20 minutes to answer all the questions on the math no calculator section of SAT practice test 5. Now I know you're probably thinking I get 25 minutes on the SAT, right, for the math no calculator section. You do, but if you keep in mind the pacing video where we talked about how you want to end up having time to spare at the end, ideally for the math no calculator section, you want to have anywhere from 8 minutes to 10 minutes to spare at the end. That's why I'm giving you 20 here. So obviously you're not going to have the time at the end then to go back through and check every single question, but what this is going to get you in the practice of is making sure you have all the questions answered in at least 20 minutes. Hopefully you have all of them answered in right around 15 to 17 minutes. That would be ideal. But if you do have all of them answered by the 20-minute mark, at least you would end up with 5 minutes at the end to check your work. So you're going to want to do that. That's going to be SAT practice test 5. So that'll be the first one. You can find the link to the practice test in the description. Okay, after that, you don't have to check your answers on your own because I'm going to play a video I made in the past where I solve all the problems from the math no calculator section of SAT practice test 5 in 10 minutes. Okay, and the reason why I want you to watch that video instead of just checking your answers using the scoring guide that you can search up on Google is because what you can do then is you can not only see if you got the correct answer, but see if you got there in the most efficient route possible. So as I go through these in 10 minutes, if I'm going to complete all the questions in 10 minutes, which I do, you got to understand I have to be really, really efficient then. So I want you to watch and make sure that you're using the most efficient route possible in order to get to your correct answers, right? So I want you to see me go through it in 10 minutes. That way you see how you can be very, very fast and efficient. All right, so as you do that, you can check your answers as well, see how you did. Hopefully you're getting them all right, considering that you took yesterday to go through practice test 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and look at all the questions you got wrong. So hopefully now you're getting them all right. After that, you're going to have 20 minutes to answer all the questions on SAT practice test 7. So just like step 2 or step 1, but with practice test 7 now. So once again, you might not have time to check every single one of your answers, but hopefully you have all the questions answered right around the 15 or 17-minute mark, or at worst at the 20-minute mark. Okay, after that, once again, I'll play a video I made in the past where I solve all the problems from the math no calculator section in 10 minutes. Okay, once again, check your work by going through, watch the video, see how I get to my answers efficiently, and check your work. Hopefully, once again, you scored perfectly since you did have yesterday as a personalized study day for the math no calculator section. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. As always, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And when I say 3, 2, 1, your 20 minutes to start solving for practice test 5 will begin. So I'll give you right around 15 seconds to go pull it up in another tab. So go ahead and click that link in the description, pull up practice test 5. You can go ahead and pause the video now if you need to so that you can go pull it up. And you're going to go ahead and your 20 minutes to start with SAT practice test 5. The math no calculator section is going to start in 3, 2, 1. Good luck. Your 20 minutes is now up, so at this time, my 10 minutes to answer all the questions for the SAT Math No Calculator section will begin. Keep in mind that I'm not following the pacing guide when I did this 10-minute video because it was just its own separate video, separate from the 90-day series and separate from the 14-day prep series. So you won't see me follow the pacing guide, but you can still use it to see how to get to your answer efficiently and also to check your work. So it's perfectly fine. Just keep in mind, obviously, you still want to be following that pacing guide that I will show you before you take practice test 10 and also the day before you take the SAT, and it's the same pacing that I showed you in past videos. Okay, so in this one, obviously, it's separate from the 90-day course, separate from the 14-day one, so I just answer the questions in order. Keep in mind, obviously, you want to answer them in the order I recommended in the pacing guide video. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Make sure to check your work and also check how to get to your correct answers efficiently. All right, question 1. Which of the following is an equation of line L in the xy plane above? Well, I see that my slope is 1 because I rise 1 and I run 1, right? I have an increase of 1y and an increase of 1x, and I have a y-intercept of 1, so my equation is going to be dy equals x plus 1. Question 2. The circle above with center O has a circumference of 36. What is the length of minor arc AC? Well, that's going to be from here to here. I see I have a 90-degree angle here. So that 90-degree angle over the 360-degree angle in total is going to be 1/4, and then I multiply that by my circumference of 36. I see this can be simplified to 9 over 36. 36 times 36 will cancel, and I'll be left with 9. So my answer is going to be A, 9. Question 3, what are the solutions of the quadratic equation 4x squared minus 8x minus 12? I can factor 4 out here because they're all multiples of 4, and that'll leave me with x squared minus 2x minus 3. I can factor that, and I can say that that's going to be x minus 3 times x plus 1, which means that my solutions then will be x equals 3 and x equals negative 1, which is answer choice B. Question 4, which of the following is an example of a function whose graph in the xy plane has no x-intercepts? Choice A, a linear function whose rate of change is not 0. No, because then it will have to hit the x-intercept at some point. B, a quadratic function with real zeros. Real zeros means that it does have x-intercepts. C, a quadratic function with no real zeros, and that'll be the answer because a quadratic function with no real zeros will not cross the x-axis. Alright, question 5. In the equation above, k is a constant. If x equals 9, what is the value of k? Alright, we'll have minus 9 here. I'll add 9 to both sides, so that'll cancel. I'll have 9 is equal to k plus 2 squared, or k plus 2, the square root. I square each side. 9 squared is 81, so now I have 81 equals k plus 2. I subtract 2 from each side to get k, and that leaves me with 79 equals k. So my answer is 79, which is D. Question 6. Which of the following is equivalent to the sum of the expressions a squared minus 1 and a plus 1? Well, a squared plus a is what we're going to get here and here. And then we have minus 1 plus 1. Minus 1 plus 1 cancels. I'm left with a squared plus a, so my answer is A. Question 7. Jackie has 2 summer jobs. She works as a tutor, which pays $12 per hour, and she works as a lifeguard, which pays $9.50 per hour. She can work no more than 20 hours per week, but she wants to earn at least $220 per week. Which of the following systems of inequalities represents this situation in terms of x and y, where x is the number of hours she tutors and y is the number of hours she works as a lifeguard? Alright, well, when she works as a lifeguard, y is the number of hours she works there, and she makes $9.50 working as a lifeguard. So I'm going to have 12x because she earns $12 per hour working as a tutor, and x is the amount of hours she does tutoring. 12x plus 9.5, y has to be greater than 220. This one says less than, so that one's out. This one says less than, so it's out because it says that she wants to earn at least $220. So these two are in because they each have that, and then x plus y has to be less than 20 because she doesn't want to work more than 20 hours. So our answer is going to be C. Alright, question 8. In air, the speed of sound s in meters per second is a linear function of the air temperature T in degrees Celsius and is given by the equation S of T is equal to 0.6 T plus 331.4. Which of the following statements is the best interpretation of the number 331.4 in this context? Well, that's going to be where T equals 0, right? If T is 0, then that means I'm at 0 degrees Celsius, and I have 0 plus 331.4, which means the speed of sound in meters per second at 0 degrees Celsius is the meaning of 331.4. Question 9. If xy is a solution to the system of equations above and x is greater than 0, what is the value of xy? Well, I see y equals x squared, so I'm going to plug in x squared here. So now I have 2x squared plus 6 is equal to 2x plus 6, right, when I multiply this 2 by the x and by the 3. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this all equal to 0, factor, and find my answer. So I have 2x squared, I have plus 6. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 6 from this side and this side. That's going to get rid of my 6. I'm going to subtract 2x from each side. So now I have 2x squared minus 2x equals 0. I factor out that 2x, and then I have 2x times x minus 1 equals 0, which means my x has to equal 1. When I have x equals 1, 1 squared is equal to 1, which means that 1 squared equals y. Y must also equal 1. 1 times 1, because I'm asked for xy, is 1, so my answer is A. Alright, question 10. If a squared plus b squared equals z and ab is equal to 9, which of the following is equivalent to 4z plus 8y? Well, if z is a squared plus b squared, I'm going to do 4a squared, right, plus 4b squared is what that's going to come out to when I plug that in for z. And then I have 8 times y. It says y is ab, so I'm going to have plus 8ab. I just find which equation gives me that. Well, I know that 4a squared and that 4b squared, that's going to have that 2a and that 2b, because when I square it, right, because 2a times 2a gives me 4a squared, and 2b plus 2b, or 2b times 2b, I'm sorry, will give me 4b squared. And then I also have 2b times 2a times 2, which will give me 8ab. So my answer there is going to be B. Alright, moving on, question 11. The volume of a right circular cylinder is 22 cubic centimeters. What is the volume in cubic centimeters of a right circular cylinder with twice the radius and half the height of a cylinder A? Alright, well, we know the equation for volume is V equals pi r squared times height. Alright, so if our height doubles, or if our height is half, right, then we'll have half. We're just going to use factor of change. Pi stays 1. If our radius then doubles, we'll have 2 squared times a half to find how much our volume will change by, and then we multiply this by our original, which is 22. Alright, well, we see that we're going to have 2 squared, that's going to be 4. 4 times a half, 4 over 2, that's 2. Now we got 2 times 22, which gives us 44. So our answer there is C. Question 12. Which of the following is equivalent to 9 to the power of 3/4? Alright, well, that's going to be the 4th root of 9 cubed. We see that that's not an answer choice, but we see these two, and we know those two have to be wrong because it's not possible, right? So now I'm going to go ahead and simplify by making 9 into a 3 as a base. So that's going to give me, if I change this to a 3, right, then that's the same as 3 squared, because 9 equals 3 squared. Now when I do that, I have to multiply my 2 by my 3/4. Multiplying 2 by 3/4 gives me 6 over 4. 3 to the power of 6 over 4 is equal to 3 to the power of 3 over 2, which means that I'm going to have I'm going to have the second root of 3 to the third, right? So I can go ahead and take 1 3 out, and I'm left with 3 root 3. So my answer is D. All right, question 13. At a restaurant, n cups of tea are made by adding tea bags of hot water. If t equals n plus 2, how many additional tea bags are needed to make each additional cup of tea? The answer is going to be 1, because if we want 1 tea, right, if we want an extra tea, we have to add 1 n, right? They're proportional. So we're going to have B1. All right, question 14. The function f is defined by the equation above. Which of the following is the graph of y equals negative f of x in the xy plane? Well, y equals negative f of x will just be negative 2x. We're just multiplying this whole equation by negative 1, right? So that's going to give us negative 2x, or negative 2 to the power of x, and this will be minus 1 then. All right, so we need a negative y-intercept then, right? We see we have that in those, we have that those. We know that we have to open down because we're going to have negative 2 to the power of x. So as we go towards infinity, we have to go more negative, right? So b is out, and then I look at, if I plug in 0 for x, I'll have negative 2 to the power of 0, which is the same as negative 1, because 2 to the power of 0 is 1. So I have negative 1 minus 1. So my y-intercept then will equal negative 2, right? I see where I have that at C. All right, question 15. Alan drives an average of 100 miles a week. His car can travel an average of 25 miles per gallon of gasoline. Alan would like to reduce his weekly gas expenditure by 5. Assuming gas costs $4 per gallon, which equation can he use to determine how many less miles he should drive each week? Well, that's going to be his cost per mile driven is $4 divided by the 25 miles per gallon he gets. We multiply that by m, and we need that to equal 5. So our answer there is D. All right, question 16. Maria plans to rent a boat. The boat rental costs $60 per hour. She'll also have to pay for water safety costs that cost $10. Maria wants to spend no more than $280 for the rental in course. If the boat rental is available only for a whole number of hours, what's the maximum number of hours she can rent the boat? Well, that's going to be 280 minus her initial cost of 10, which is 270. 270 over 60. That's going to give us a little bit over 4, right? So midway through the 4s, but she can only rent it for whole numbers of hours. So our answer there is 4. Question 17, what value of p is the solution to the equation above? Well, we're going to get 2p plus 2, and then plus 8p minus 8. Well, 2p plus 8p gives me 10p, and then I have 2 minus 8, which gives me minus 6 equals 5p. I'm going to add 6 to this each side, right? So now I get 6 here. I subtract 5p from each side, and now I get 5p equals 6. I divide each side by 5. I get p is equal to 6 over 5. Alright, question 18. The system of equations above has a solution xy. What is the value of x? I plug in 2x here for y up here. So now I get 2x plus 2x, that's 4x. Half of 4x is 2x. I divide each side by 2 to solve for x, which means that I have 2 times 2 here. So I get 21 over 4. Alright, question 19. The expression above is equivalent to a over x plus 2 squared, where a is a positive constant and x does not equal negative 2. What is the value of a? Alright, well, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get a common denominator by multiplying by x plus 2 over x plus 2. I do that, I get 2x plus 4. So now I have 2x minus 2x, which gives me 0x, and then I have 6 minus 4. 6 minus 4 will give me 2. So I'll have 2 over x plus 2 squared, so my value of a will be 2. Alright, question 20. Intersecting lines R, S, and T are shown below. What's the value of x? Well, this 106 means I have to have a 74 here to make that 180. And then all of these interior angles in this triangle have to add to 180. 74 plus 23 gives me 97, which means I have to have, 74 plus 23 gives me 97, which means that I have to have 83 right there, which means that x will equal 180 minus 83, which is equal to 97. Your 20 minutes is now up, so at this time, my 10 minutes to answer all the questions for the SAT Math No Calculator section will begin. Keep in mind that I'm not following the pacing guide when I did this 10-minute video because it was just its own separate video, separate from the 90-day series and separate from the 14-day prep series. So you won't see me follow the pacing guide, but you can still use it to see how to get to your answer efficiently and also to check your work. So it's perfectly fine. Just keep in mind, obviously, you still want to be following that pacing guide that I will show you before you take practice test 10 and also the day before you take the SAT, and it's the same pacing that I showed you in past videos. Okay, so in this one, obviously, it's separate from the 90-day course, separate from the 14-day one, so I just answer the questions in order. Keep in mind, obviously, you want to answer them in the order I recommended in the pacing guide video. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Make sure to check your work and also check how to get to your correct answers efficiently. Question 1. The equation above relates the number of minutes x Maria spends running each day and the number of minutes y she spends biking each day. In the equation, what does the number 75 represent? Well, that's going to be the number of minutes spent running plus the number of minutes spent biking, so that'll be the total number spent running and biking each day, which is C. Question 2. Which of the following is equivalent to 3 times x plus 5 minus 6? I distribute this 3 to x and I distribute it to the 5, so I get 3x plus 5 times 3, which is 15, minus 6. 15 minus 6 is 9, so I get 3x plus 9, which is answer choice C. Question 3. Which ordered pair xy satisfies the system of equations shown above? Well, I'm told that x is equal to y minus 3, so I plug in y minus 3 for x. So now I have my y minus 3 all over 2 plus 2y equals 6. I'm going to multiply everything here by 2, right? So that way I can get rid of this 2 in my denominator. So now I'll have y minus 3 plus 2 times 2y, which is plus 4y, equals 6 times 2, which is 12. I get y plus 4y, that's 5y. 5y, I'm going to go ahead and add this 3 to each side to get rid of it. So now I get 5y equals 15. I divide each side by 5, and I get y is equal to 3. The only answer choice with 3 and y is answer choice B, so that'll be my answer there. Question 4. Which of the following complex numbers is equal to 5 plus 12i minus 9i squared minus 6i, for I equals the square root negative 1? Alright, well I see I have 12i minus 9i squared. I know that I squared is equal to negative 1. So 9 times negative 1 gives me negative 9. Now I'm subtracting negative 9, which means I'm actually adding 9 then. So I have 5 plus 9. That's going to give me 14. My only answer choice with 14 is answer choice D, so that will be my answer. Alright, question 5. If f of x is equal to x squared minus 6x plus 3 divided by x minus 1, what is f of negative 1? That means I'm plugging in negative 1 for x. So I get negative 1 minus 1, that's going to give me negative 2. And then in my numerator, negative 1 squared is 1. Minus 6 times negative 1, well, that would be minus negative 6, which is plus 6. And then I get plus 3, which will give me 10 over negative 2. 10 over negative 2 is equal to negative 5. So negative 5 is my answer. A. Alright, question 6. A company that makes wildlife videos purchases camera equipment for $32,400. The equipment depreciates in a value at a constant rate for 12 years, after which it is considered to have no monetary value. How much is the camera equipment worth 4 years after it is purchased? Alright, well, I know that I'm losing 4 out of 12 years in depreciation, right? So I get 4 out of 12 multiplied by my 32,000, right? 32,400. That's how much I'm losing in value because it's 4 out of the 12 years, and I know I'm starting from 32,400, so I have 32,400 minus 4 over 12 times 32,400, right? So basically, we can simplify this down to 1/3, right? 1/3 of that, if I'm subtracting from 32,400, I'm going to have 2/3 of the value left, which will be about 21,600. Question 7. Which of the following is equivalent to the expression above, x squared plus 6x plus 4? All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and find, I see that I have plus 6x here, so I know that in my squared value, I have to have a positive, because if I had a negative, I'd end up with minus 6x, so I can get rid of C and D. And now I have plus 4 here, so I'm just looking for which one gets me there. I see that I have plus 3 squared, right? That's going to give me plus 9. 9 minus 5 gives me that 4 that I have up here, so I know my answer choice will be B. All right, question 8. Ken is working this summer as part of a crew on a farm. He earned $8 per hour for the first 10 hours he worked this week. Because of his performance, his crew later raised his salary to $10 per hour for the rest of the week. Ken saved 90% of his earnings from each week. What is the least number of hours he must work the rest of the week to save at least $210 for the week? Well, if he wants to save $210 and he's saving 90% of his earnings, we have to divide 270 by 0.9. and that's going to give us $300. That's how much he has to earn in the week in order to save $270. So we know that he already earned 8 times 10, right? Because he worked 10 hours and he earned $8 per hour. So minus 80, right? That's going to give us $220 left. He's earning $10 per hour for the rest of the week. He needs to work 220 over 10, which is 22 hours. A is choice C. All right, question 9. If I can get this thing to scroll. All right, question 9. Marissa needs to hire at least 10 staff members for an upcoming project. The staff members will be made of junior directors who will be paid $640 per week and senior directors who will be paid $880 per week. Her budget for paying staff members is no more than $9,700 per week. She must hire at least at least 3 junior directors and at least 1 senior director. Which of the following systems of inequalities represents the conditions described? If X is the number of junior directors and Y is the number of senior directors. All right, well, she can't spend more than $9,700, right? So we can get rid of anything with this here greater than that, so that'll get rid of A. B is good, C is not good, and D is good. Now I also know that X plus Y, our total number of staff members, has to be at least 10, so X plus Y has to be greater than 10. I see that I have that in answer choice B, but not in D, so my answer is going to be B. All right, question 10. In the equation above, A, B, C, and D are constants. If the equation has roots -1, -3, and 5, which of the following is a factor of the equation that we're given, right? Well, if our root is -1, then we would have X plus 1 as a factor. So our answer is going to be B. All right, question 11. The expression given here, where X is greater than 1 and Y is greater than 1, is equivalent to which of the following? All right, what I'm going to do, since I have a division here, is I'm going to have X to the -2 minus X to the 1/3, or minus, right, X to the -2, and then I have minus 1/3 up here. Because I subtract what's in my denominator, that's going to give me X to the -7/3, and then I have Y to the half minus -1, which becomes +1, which will give me Y to the power of 3/2. All right, well, Y to the power of 3/2 is going to be Y root Y, so I can get rid of A, and then on the bottom, I'm going to have that over X to the power of 7/3, since X to the -7/3 is X to the power of 7/3 on the bottom. X to the power of 7/3 is going to give me X squared times third root of X. So my answer there is going to be D. All right, question 12. The function f is defined by f of x is equal to x plus 3 times x plus 1. The graph of f in the xy plane is a parabola. Which of the following intervals contains the x-coordinate of the vertex of the graph f? All right, our vertex is going to be in between our zeros. Our zeros are x equals -3 and x equals -1. So our vertex then is going to be -2. Right, I'll just put that as v. It's going to be x equals -2. So we have answer choice B, because that is the only one that contains the point -2. All right, moving on. Question 13, which of the following expressions is equivalent to the one shown? All right, we have to divide here, so we're going to have our x minus 3 out here, going into our x squared minus 2x minus 5. I see I have to multiply by x to get x squared, so I have minus x squared, and then I have minus 3x right here. Right, I have negative, my x squareds will cancel, and then I have -3x, which gives me plus 3x. -2 plus 3x leaves me with x, which means I have to do x plus 1. Now I get minus my x, and then I have plus 3, right, which is really, I drop this -5 down then. So now I have -5 minus 3, or I'm sorry, -5, this is going to be minus 3 right here, right? Minus 3, because it's -3 times 1. So now I have -5 plus 3, which leaves me with my remainder of 2 as my remainder. So I have x plus 1 minus 2 over x plus 3, or 2 over x minus 3. Question 14. A shipping service restricts the dimensions of the boxes it will ship for a certain type of service. The restriction states that for boxes shaped like rectangular prisms, the sum of the perimeter, which is 2L plus 2W, of the base of the box and the height cannot exceed 130 inches. The perimeter, right, has to be less than 130. The perimeter of the base is determined using the width and length of the box. If the box has a height of 60, its length is 2 times its width, so L equals 2.5 W. Which inequality shows the allowable width x in inches of the box? So we're going to go ahead and plug in 2.5 W for L. So now I get 2 times 2.5 W. That's going to give me 5W plus 2W. And then this H it said was 60, so I subtract 60 from 130 and I get 70. So now I get 7W must be less than 70. I divide each side by W, and I divide each side by 7, and I get W has to be less than 10, but greater than 0. So I get A. All right, question 15. The expression 1/3 x squared minus 2 can be rewritten as 1/3 x minus k times x plus k, where k is a positive constant. What's the value of k? All right, well, I know negative k squared times 1/3 has to equal -2. I multiply each side by 3 to get rid of this, and I get -6 equals negative k squared. Therefore, k squared has to equal 6, and k has to equal the root of 6. So my answer is D. All right, question 16. If 2x plus 8 equals 16, what's the value of x plus 4? I divide everything by 2. Now I'm going to get x plus 4 equals 8, so my answer is 8. Question 17. In the figure, MQ and NR intersect at point P. N to P is equal to Q to P, and M to P is equal to P to R. What is the measure of QMR? QMR is going to be my angle here. Solving for that, I see I have 60 here, which means I have to have 120 here to make this 180. Now I know that I have an isosceles triangle here, which means that my two angles here are going to be the same, so they each have to be 30. So my answer is going to be 30. All right, question 18. The number of radians in a 720-degree angle can be written as a pi, where a is a constant. What's the value of a? Well, the number of radians in a 360-degree angle is 2 pi. So in a 720-degree angle, that's times 2, which is 4 pi. We're asked for a. That's going to be 4. Question 19. The graph of a line in the xy plane passes through point 1,4 and crosses the x-axis at 2,0. The line crosses the y-axis at point 0b. So we're solving for the y-intercept. The y-intercept, I see I go from 1 to 2, I go down 4, so if I'm going from 1 back to 0, I have to add 4, which will give me 8 as the value of b. Question 20, the expression above can be rewritten in the form ay squared plus b, where a and b are constant. So what is the value of a plus b? All right, well, I know that my a is going to be 100y squared plus 10 times 10y squared, so that's plus another 100, so I know my a has to be 200y squared, but a is just 200 then, and then plus b, which is 75, 32, minus 10 times 110, so that's going to be minus 1100. That's going to give me 64, 32. When I add those, I get 66, 32 as my answer. So hopefully today's video was helpful. If it was, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. There'll be a donation link in the description as well if you would like to donate. These videos take a lot of time and effort, so hopefully if you feel that you're really appreciative of it, I would appreciate any donations you could send my way. As always, like, share, subscribe, and have a great day.